Hey guys, welcome back for another video. In this video, as you can see, we're gonna talk about Linux. This is gonna be a playlist actually. So this video is the first part of a long series where we're gonna cover a lot of stuff. We're gonna go from the ground up, from basic stuff to advanced stuff. Like basic stuff, when I say basic stuff, like what is an operating system, what is the Linux operating system, how is Linux different from Windows or Mac OS X. Yeah, and then we're gonna go to advanced stuff like shell scripting, um, networking, and why not some cybersecurity stuff. Yeah, I mean, I eventually, plan on covering some cybersecurity stuff, but YouTube is kind of restrictive when it comes to those contents. So I don't know, maybe I'll publish this kind of stuff on my personal website. So anyway, as a result of the survey I published yesterday, um, English was the winner. So I kind of gave you two options when it comes to the language this course was gonna be in. So I gave you Haitian Creole and English. Y'all chose English, so I'm just gonna serve you. So this course is gonna be English. I mean English. So here we're gonna talk about we're gonna try to understand the Linux and operating systems in general. In general, sorry. This video is gonna be a comprehensive journey through the fundamentals of operating systems and the powerful world of Linux. So let's not make this boring. Let's get started. So, what is an operating system? So, before I read this definition, okay, let me read the definition first. An operating system is the essential software layer that manages all computer hardware and software resources. It acts as the brain of your device. So it provides the critical user interface you interact with daily and orchestrates how programs execute, ensuring smooth multitasking and resource allocation. What are some examples of operating systems? We got Windows, which I think most of y'all are already familiar with that. We have Windows, which is created by Microsoft, by the way.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
Mac OS, which is created by Apple, and we have Linux, the beast. So yeah, these are some examples. So that was like kind of complicated definition. Let me give you like a simple definition of an operating system. An operating system is like the bridge between you, the user. I am the user. For example, I'm on my computer now. So the operating system is a bridge between me and the hardware. By the way, if you don't know what the hardware is just the physical parts of the computer, like the hard drive disk, the RAM bars, what else? The screen of your computer, the CPU, things like that. The motherboard. These are the physical parts. This is the hardware. And what is a software? A software is all the programs or applications that run on that computer. So the operating system is just the layer between you and the hardware. So it helps you communicate with the hardware. So whenever you want to do something, you give the order, and then the operating system interprets that. It translates that order to the hardware so that the hardware can understand. Because basically, let me get my notepad so y'all can understand better what I'm talking about. So like I was saying, the hardware interprets your orders, to the operating system. For example, this is you, the user, and then there's the operating system. OS stands for operating system, and then there's the hardware. See? So that's you, the user, and that's the hardware, and then there's the operating system in between. So whenever you want to say something like, let's say you give the order, um, open browser. So you give that order, but the hardware itself cannot understand that because the hardware does not speak the same language as you. See? So in order for the browser to understand what you mean by open the browser, the operating system has to translate that. It has to interpret what you mean and then translates it to the hardware, and then the hardware will execute it. Basically, what is the language of the hardware? The hardware speak the binary language. The binary is just a bunch of zeros and 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. That's the language of the hardware. And what language you speak as a human being, you already know it. Like if I um click on there, I see CapCut. See, that's the name I see for the application. When I click, that's how I see. That's how I see it. That's what I see. But the operating system has to translate it for the hardware to understand it, because when it gets translated, like open the browser, it's gonna get translated. See, so I'm just putting this here to show you the process that is going on, like translation process. So the result is gonna be a bunch of zeros and one zeros and one zeros and ones. That's the language the hardware understands. So if you just say open the browser and then there's no operating system, then the hardware will not understand what you mean by open the browser. So the operating system is the layer, the bridge that is between you, the user, and the hardware. It makes it possible for you to communicate with your computer, basically. So some examples, like I said, are Windows by Microsoft. We have Mac OS X by Apple, and we have Linux by Oracle. Oracle, it's it's the it's the owner of the Linux operating system now, but it's not the company that created Linux initially. Originally, Linux was created by a guy named Linus Torvalds. Let me show you. Yeah, I've already explained that. What is software? Software is just a bunch of applications like CapCut is a software, Edge, Outlook, these are softwares, you see? These are all like logical programs, a bunch of lines of code that, give instructions to the operating system, and then the operating system take these instructions and then give them to the hardware, and then the hardware execute them and then give you the result back. So that's what it is basically. No need to make a big fuss about it. So what is Linux? Linux. So I was gonna talk about Oracle, but let's leave it. Let's pause on that for now. What is Linux? First of all, Linux is just an operating system that was created by a guy named Linus Torvald. He's the guy. See, that's the guy behind the Linux operating system. So, what is the story behind Linux initially? Linux was developed by a guy named Linus Torvalds, a 21-year-old Finnish computer science student. He announces his hobby project, which was going to be a free operating system kernel inspired by Unix and Minix. If you don't know what Unix is, it's just a type of operating system that existed back then. It still exists. Linux is based on the Unix operating system. So Unix is just a multi-user operating system. What does that mean? It's an operating system that on which can exist several users. For example, on Linux, the same computer, I can have like me using it, I can have my father using it, my brother, my colleagues. We all get to create one user. For example, if I'm logging in, I can create my user, and just like when you get into a website, like get um if I get on YouTube, I have my own username. For example, I'm gonna my connection is slow. This is my profile, so that's my user. See? Ours Academy. See? But let's just pretend this is the Linux operating system for a minute. And if it's the Linux operating system, I'm logging in. I'm gonna enter my username, and then it's gonna ask me the password for that username. So I log in. But let's say it's not me. It's like one of my colleagues. And then if that's not me, my colleague is gonna have to, enter his own name. Maybe his name is, I don't know, John Doe, John Doe, and then when he enters his username, it's gonna ask for his password, and then he has to input his password, pass123. Just an example. So that's what it is basically. Let's get back. Um, yeah. So that's the story behind it. So Linux was just an operating system that was created by a guy who was, passionate, who wanted to create an operating system that is free and that also provided the ability to have multiple users on it. So it was based on some operating systems named Unix and Minix. Yeah. And Linux is based on the GPL license. GPL means GNU Public License. Let me give you, I mean, there it is. GPL, no, no public license or no general public license. It's an open source license. Basically, I mean, for some of y'all who don't know what a license is, a license is just like a document stating which rights, what rights somebody has, on a piece of software. Yeah, usually software, but it can be like a book or any type of intellectual property. For example, if I create a book right now, let's say I was a writer, I created a book, I'm the author. So nobody else has the right to modify that book in any kind of form. That would be like, something illegal. I could like sue them for that. But let's just say I publish something under the no general public license, then that means it's free and it's open source that anybody else can use it. Anybody else can, use it and I don't know, modify it, add on to it, or I don't know, just do whatever they want with it. You see? So this is a public license. When you create a piece of software that has that license, basically it says that it's a free software, it's an open source software. It's not like uh something that is owned by I don't know an entity or an institution like a proprietary see property. You see what I'm saying? So basically, that's what it is. And then, if you want to talk about today global impact of Linux, well, basically, Linux is I don't know the operating system behind almost every servers and data centers. Okay, yep. The For the global impact, we have a lot of people who are using Linux as their primary operating system. We have data centers using Linux as the operating system. I mean, I guess you know what a server is. A server is just can be a computer, but it's not like your normal computer like the one I'm using right now. It's like a big. Let me get an image for y'all. Data center images. Okay, here we go. That's not clear enough. Okay, you see, this is okay. This whole place is a data center. A data center is a place where there are a bunch of servers. And what is a server? Here it is. This is what we call a server. It's a computer. Don't get fooled by its size. Like, that's not normal. That's not a normal computer. It's a computer, but more powerful than your normal computer. Basically, its purpose is to listen for incoming connections and then return what data is asked for. For example, when I type google.com in the search bar. Basically, I send a DNS request to a DNS server, and then that DNS server gives me the IP address of where that website is located, and then it gives me the IP address of that server which holds the Google website. That's how it works basically. I know that might be, some advanced stuff for some of y'all. I don't want it to be too overwhelming, but basically you can do some research about it. Basically, if you want to take notes, a server, computer that hosts a service. Okay, that's why the server is, and the server is located. It's low in a data center. Okay, I guess that's all. So Linux, like I said, it's an open source operating system. Linux represents a diverse family of open source Unix-like operating systems built on the Linux kernel. The Linux kernel, what it is just the core component of the Linux operating system, which is basically the thing that communicates with the memory, the hardware, and everything. See, that's why we call the Linux kernel. It handles the memory and stuff like that. And it's combined with essential user space tools and utilities. Renowned renowned globally for exceptional stability, robust security architecture, and remarkable flexibility. Linux adapts seamlessly across countless devices and environments. What are some advantages? It's open source, it's community driven. What does that mean? It's not, like I said, it's not something that belongs to a specific company. See, if I want to, I can just wake up one day and create my own Linux distribution, like my own Linux version. You see, so I'm part of the community. So that means it's something that is handled by the community, a community of developers like me. You see, passionate people, enthusiasts who are not like, doing it for the money, just doing it for the passion. Yeah, and just for the love of the sport. Thousands of developers worldwide contribute. Highly customizable. Remember what I was saying? I can just wake up one day and try to create my own Linux distribution, tailor every aspect to your needs. Yep. So okay, I think that's all. So this guy created the Linux operating system, and then later on, Linux was Linux would be acquired by a company called Oracle. Let me let me show you Oracle. I don't want to forget about that Oracle. See, that's the company that is kind of like they acquired the Linux operating system. Let me check the year. I forgot. Okay, Oracle Linux in 2006, 2006. There's a distribution called Oracle Linux that came out. See, under the new. I'm struggling to pronounce this word. We say new. Let me see. No, yeah, no general public license. So, yeah, they have their own distribution. Okay, so basically, I've already talked about that. Linux powers the modern world from pocket devices to malls. Linux Linux's versatility makes it the invisible backbone of our connected digital ecosystem. It powers servers and cloud. Remember, I talked about servers, mobile devices, and yes, if you didn't know, the Android operating system is based on the Linux kernel. So basically, Android is like, I don't know, I mean, we could call it a Linux distribution, but it's not. It's just based on the Linux kernel. So when you look at your phone right now, it's, its operating system, it's similar to the Unix, I mean, Linux one. And supercomputers, I mean, scientists, for example, a university like MIT uses supercomputers to conduct researches. So a supercomputer is like a quantic computer. Yeah, these are really powerful computer that can run like millions of operations, like faster than a normal computer. See, and IoT is just Internet of Things, like smart watches. I mean, I know I don't have one. I'm just showing you my race roll as an example. Stupid. Anyway, IoT is just Internet of Things. When I say Internet of Things, like routers, Arduino. Is that how we say it? I don't know. Some, yeah, Arduinos and some smartwatches. Um, yeah, these are like these small devices that are not telephones or computers, but they're just like, you know, they use operating, they are computers, like mini computers, but not like a normal computer, but they, they are electronic gadgets. So we call them IoTs, Internet of Things. Let me actually write it down because I'm just rambling. I want y'all to remember anything I say here. So I'm just gonna, write down some notes. Internet of Things, like smart watches, smartwatch. Some waters actually use the Linux operating system. Arduino, some robots, little robots. I mean, it stands to reason because s- most of the robots are built off of Arduinos. You know, the inventors just use Arduinos just to build these robots. So they use the Linux operating system. And I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, like I was saying, smart TVs, routers, Chromebooks, automotive systems like intelligent cars, smart cars, and even NASA's Mars rovers. I mean, if you don't know what a rover is just like a small vehicle exploring a foreign planet like Mars. Over the years, NASA has sent 5 robotic vehicles, see, called rovers. These are robotic vehicles. Let me show you an image. These are rovers. We send them out of our planet to explore other planets. They usually get transported in a rocket. So when the rocket gets into space, it's kind of like separates. I mean, different parts separate away, and then it lands on Mars, and then the rover goes out and does its stuff basically. Interesting. So they use the Linux operating system. So that's what I'm showing you this image. So these little things, small things, they use the Linux operating system too. So it's already been 23 minutes. So let's get this over with. Now I want to talk about Linux distributions. What is a Linux distribution? Basically, it's a version of Linux. See, because I talked about the Linux kernel first. See, the Linux kernel is like the core foundation because that thing is like the what? How can I even say that? We could call it the soul of Linux operating systems. Like basically, if I have the Linux kernel, I can create my own operating system. Like it'll still be a Linux operating system, but it'll be like a different version. You see, it's like a distribution is a version of a Linux operating system. So as it says here, the Linux kernel is the core foundation. So everything is built up on that. And then up on the Linux kernel, we have system tools like Nmap, cat, ls, pwd, networking directory, echo, TCP dump, Wireshark. These are all utilities that you will use. I mean, in the next video, I'm gonna, show you some basic commands. Yeah, these are all tools that are built upon the Linux kernel, which is the foundation. Then we have applications, which are pre-installed software like Firefox, the browser. We could also, yeah, Armitage. I know this is not cybersecurity stuff. That's just the Armitage, Burp Suite. Yeah, these are all applications like um that has graphical user interface, package manager like DPKG, things like that. So a Linux distribution, we call them distributions or distros. These are complete operating systems that bundle the Linux kernel with carefully curated system software, applications, and package management tools. Each distro is tailored for specific purposes. Yep, I'll get to that in a bit. And audiences from beginner friendly desktops to enterprise servers and specialized security platforms. So I just wanna, focus on this part here. Tailored, tailored for specific purposes. What does that mean? Each distribution is built for a specific purpose. For example, we have Kali Linux, which is built for offensive security. We have Debian distributions, which are mostly used in server environments. I mean, not all, but some data centers actually use Debian based distributions. We have Red Hat Enterprise. We have Manjaro. Um, what else? Ubuntu. Yeah, we have a lot of them actually. There is like I can bring them into my immediate conscience. Yeah, this is Kali Linux. So this is a Linux distribution. Um, Basically, it means that it's just a version of Linux built for offensive security. See, so it is the security professional's toolkit. It's like the toolkit of any cybersecurity professional. I mean, if you're into offensive stuff, that is. It's a distribution based on Debian. See, I was talking about Debian earlier. So it's based on Debian, meticulously crafted for penetration testing, ethical hacking, and advanced security auditing. It's preloaded with 600 plus security tools, Nmap, Armitage, PowerShell Empire, Crackmatic Exe, Linux Enum, bunch of stuff, basically. Industry standard for cybersecurity professionals used by white hat hackers and security researchers worldwide. It includes regular updates and active community. Yeah, basically that that is what Kali Linux is. And then I'm just showing you some examples of distributions. We have Ubuntu and Debian, which are user friendly. I mean, we use Ubuntu is mostly used for desktop environments, like people doing like things like editing files, things like that. I mean, it's not like a general truth, but most of the time people use it. See, the most popular desktop Linux distribution worldwide, Ubuntu delivers a polished, user-friendly experience perfect for newcomers and professionals alike. Backed by Canonical, it offers regular releases, long-term support versions, and massive community resources. Enter your GNOME desktop environment. GNOME is like the thing that handles, the graphics on the desktop environment. Extensive software repository with one-click installs. Basically, it's the repository is like a depot. Yeah, it's where you get your updates or where you download like your softwares. Like if I want to install like a software, I could do apt install. I don't know, Nmap. I don't know, um, Deerbuster. See, yeah, this is just an example. If I wanted to install a package via the command line, We have Debian, which is the rock solid community driven distribution that serves as the foundation for Ubuntu. Ubuntu is based on Debian and countless other distros. I mean, most of the distributions out there are based on Debian, like Kali Linux, Ubuntu. Um, I think Linux Mint. Linux Mint. I don't want to say things that are not true. Linux Mint is based primarily on Ubuntu, but there's an alternative version based on Debian known as Linux Mint Debian Edition LMDE. I used to use Linux Mint. It's great. I love it, the interface. It's user friendly. But now I mainly use Kali Linux since I'm more into like offensive stuff. So anyway, the last one I want to show you is Red Hat. This one is a paid version, I believe. Unlike the ones like Linux, which is free, Debian, Ubuntu, these are ones you can just download for free. But Red Hat, I think it's an enterprise version, like it's a proprietary version. You have to buy it. It's used in servers. It's used in corporation. See, so Red Hat Enterprise Linux represents the gold standard for commercial Linux distributions, delivering unparalleled stability, security, and enterprise level support for mission critical business operations, trusted by Fortune 500 companies and government agencies. Blah, 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 blah. Anyways, the backbone of corporate IT infrastructure and cloud computing platforms like Amazon Ours, Google Cloud, they use this distribution, Red Hat. Whenever you see this acronym, it means Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Anyway, that's a lot of yapping. Oh, 32 minutes. Anyway, well, as the video is already long enough, so in the next video, I'm gonna actually show you how to download and install the Linux operating system, because that's what we're here for. No more theory, I promise. In the next video is gonna be hands-on practice where we're gonna install the Linux operating system, and we're gonna execute our first commands. So can't wait to see y'all. Peace.